Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So first, I want to thank you for the invitation. And I want to thank all my teachers, especially Leo. He was one of them. For this specific talk, I want to thank Levan Bahia. He's my coach. And he told me, you have to do something you have never done before. So this put me in a big anxiety. What can I say that I have not said before? And I was in deep depression until Wednesday, because until Wednesday, I did not know what I was going to say. And also I want to thank Eka Papiashvili, my financial director that did the presentation. So I want to dedicate this talk to my late wife, Claire, with whom I started this methodology. In 1982, she was given a few months to live because of cancer. And instead of a few months, she did 17 years. This is how we developed the methodology. So the topic tonight is we are perfect and we don't know it. And my goal at the end of the presentation is that you say, I am perfect and I know it. But I would like you to say it in a specific way. I am perfect and I know it. I am perfect and I know it. So as you know, the theme now is about oneness and unity. And we cannot talk about oneness and unity without talking about separation and loneliness. And I want to build on the other presentations about unity and oneness by exploring how our defense mechanism creates this separation. So we are going to explore together our defense mechanism and how this creates separation. Our survival mechanism is always looking for the worst possible scenario. And this is what helped human beings survive. You know, there were different types of human beings, and only Homo sapiens survived. And only Homo sapiens survived because he has the best survival mechanism. Okay? So the two main parts of this survival mechanism is the brain, and many of you heard about it, but I will make a shortcut, and the ego. And some presenters talked about ego. I don't understand Georgian. But when I hear ego, I understand. Okay, so the brain is composed of three parts: brainstem, limbic system, and prefrontal cortex. Prefrontal cortex we use it to analyze, to understand, to synthesize, and mainly to philosophize, like we are doing now. Okay? Limbic system is emotions and danger. The limbic system has the task to know if what our sense perceive is a danger or not. And if it is a danger, it needs to block everything and give the power to the brainstem. The brainstem, it's all automatic, you don't think. If a bus is coming towards you, it's the time to run. It's not the time to philosophize or think. So what the limbic system does, it cuts the prefrontal cortex. I can talk more about how it does it, but the time is short and it's not the purpose. It cuts the prefrontal cortex. I am sure several of you went in an examination room, and inside the room, you forgot half of the subject. You go out of the room, everything comes back. Okay, why? Because the limbic system cut the prefrontal cortex so you can have all your energy either to fight or to flight. sometimes you had an interview and an important communication, and you get out of the discussion and you think, oh, I should have said this, I should have said that. Did it happen to you? Yes, yes. So it's the same. The prefrontal cortex lobotomized you. But it's important for survival. So next we are going to see quickly the ego, because the ego is a source of danger that are not dangerous. So the I represents who we are, our deep. Okay, I forgot something important. You know, Indians do that. Do you know what it means? No. It means let the divine part inside me connect with the divine part inside you. So you see, it was really important. And the I represents this divine part. And what is this I seeing? This I sees how we want to present ourselves to the world, the image we want to project. As I am a man, I represent Superman. Okay? And the other part of the ego is the dream we want to be. You know, when we are adolescent, we think when we grow up, we shall be famous and we shall change the world and so on. This dream, we call this the ideal self. And the third part of the ego is very simple. It's a meter that evaluates where we stand. And you know what happens? There is a gap, a big gap, and we don't like it. And most of the time, we look at the gap. Am I good enough? Am I fast enough? Am I intelligent enough? Did I make a mistake? Okay? And all these are dangers that are processed exactly like if a bus was coming against you. Okay? And each of these dangers, of course, create this partial lobotomy. And if you feel really challenged, it's possible that your brain is so stopped that you have a little more than a monkey. Okay? I'm not joking, it happens. And usually we regret what we say or what we do. Okay? So let's see what it does in a usual conversation. Let's suppose that everything under this line represents the total reality we can access. Let's take someone born in Georgia, in a specific city, in a specific neighborhood, in a specific family. That person can have access only to a very small slice of reality. Okay? Now let's take someone born in a different country. I don't know, Afghanistan, Africa, whatever. It's exactly the same. A city, a family, and that person has access to a very small part of total reality. And what is in between, no one of us knows. Okay? So now I have a question. What is the color of this? No. No, your eyes are not good. Of course it is white. It's clear that it is white. How can you see it orange? Okay? So when we have an important subject, okay, this is not important, but when we have a different point of view and we have an important subject, how do we usually address the difference? Do we address it like this, or do we rather address it like that? Let me explain you. You don't get it, you stupid. I'm going to explain. Okay? This is usual conversation. If we speak with our spouse about the children, or in the company about a strategy, and you have a different point of view, do we say, your point of view is interesting, let me understand? No, right? Okay, okay. So, of course, this creates separation. If we want a generative conversation, how should we behave? We should behave, why do you think that? It's interesting, let me understand more. And with my point of view and your point of view, let's try to see the total reality that is in between. That would be a generative conversation, right? Are you sleeping? Right? Right, okay. So, what is the connection with being perfect? Okay, let me, well, the person inside the tank, the divine part that is inside the tank, is perfect. The tank is not protecting us. The tank is hiding it. And for the other person, it is the same. The tank is hiding his or her perfection. Okay? The you that is in the tank is perfect. You understand why I said I forgot something really important? Okay? So now I would like to prove it. Are you ready for a small exercise? Okay. So you look at your neighbor. You look at your neighbor. Go ahead. Right, left, I don't care. Okay? And now look at me. And put your hand like this. Okay? Close your eyes. Close your eyes, all. Close your eyes. Okay? And think about your neighbor and connect with what you liked about your neighbor. Okay? And now open your eyes and tell him or her what you thought. Go ahead. Okay. I want to know who perceived the light of the other person. Who perceived the perfection of the other person? Who perceived the okay? So it means the other person perceived your perfection also. It goes both ways. Okay? So if you perceived it, I suggest you stand up and you repeat with me, I am perfect and I know it. Okay? Okay, so stand up. I am perfect and I know it. Go ahead. I am perfect and I know it. I am perfect and I know it. I am perfect and I know it. Didi Madlova. Well, if you are there was the website. If you are interested to know more about whatever, it's www.leo.institute. Thank you. So, thank you very much.